Hi, you're watching Anyverse English. This story begins at the hospital. Shirley told a man that he was annoying and rushing, despite being in a hospital. The man asked her what she was afraid of and instructed Wang Kio to keep watch outside to ensure nobody would intrude. Shirley pushed the man, reminding him that Chen was still in bed and asking what would happen if Chen woke up. The man dismissively called Chen a crippled loser, asserting that even if Chen woke up, he wouldn't be capable of anything. He also admitted that Chen had been aware of their actions all along. The man confidently told Shirley that if Chen dared to confront him that day, he would retaliate against Chen in her presence. Suddenly, a flash of lightning tore across the sky, startling Chen awake. Chen immediately sat up and noticed Yuan, Hao and Lu Yuxi intimately close together. He was surprised to find himself back in his previous life, realizing it was his first day in Zhang City. On that day, he discovered his girlfriend, Lu Yuxi, was in a relationship with Yuan Hao. When he confronted them, Hao had shoved him under a road, where he was hit by a truck loaded with dirt. Despite surviving the accident, he was left with a lifelong disability. When his father sought justice from the Yu family, they viciously beat his father to death. Upon hearing this devastating news, he succumbed to despair and passed away. Yet, his journey didn't end there. His soul transcended to the immortal world, where he underwent 3,000 years of cultivation, reaching the realm of Mahayana. He ascended to dominance in the 8 realms, revered by countless as the immortal emperor of Chuanshan. However, the burden of past humiliation and his father's tragic death remained heavy on his soul. Failing to overcome a critical trial, his physical form perished. Unexpectedly, he found himself back on that fateful day, knowing that his journey had just begun anew. Aware of Chen's disability and his wakefulness, Hao cruelly threatened to take his girlfriend in front of him. Chen, however, was armed with the Taichuan Sutra in his mind. With his supreme cultivation from the world of immortal cultivation, he knew he could easily heal his crippled legs. The Taichuan Sutra surged with true aura, coursing through his body and instantly propelling him to the first level of qi refinement. It felt like a rebirth as bone cleansing marked a fresh beginning. His disability became inconsequential. Hao and Yuxi were astonished, unable to comprehend how he stood. Yuxi accused him of colluding with the doctor for sympathy, provoking Hao to slap her in anger, questioning her sympathy for his crippled legs. Yuxi, shocked, covered her cheek as Hao attempted to strike Chen, who effortlessly evaded and challenged Hao's seriousness. In retaliation, Chen landed a punch to Hao's stomach, leaving him trembling, while Hao called for Wang Kio, a burly man, to intervene. Instructing Kio to handle Chen, Hao sought Yuxi's assistance, urging her to leave for a top cosmetic hospital to tend to her injured face. Meanwhile, facing Chen's defiance, Kio threatened to make his life miserable but was swiftly defeated within seconds. As Chen hovered over Kio, reminding him of his undefeated status, he left the hospital an hour later as the immortal emperor of Xuanshan. In his realm, he knew no harm could befall him or his kin. He pledged to exact vengeance on Hao and Yuxi for their deeds in due time. As he sat inside the car, he couldn't shake off the memory of the earlier incident. Chu Bingu had swerved her car to avoid hitting him, resulting in a fatal crash into a barrier that left her seriously injured. Tragically, she succumbed to her injuries later in the hospital. Stepping out of the car, he gazed at the hospital, acknowledging his responsibility for the chain of events. Determined to address the situation, he resolved to visit Bingu and confront the consequences of his actions. Inside the hospital, Bingu's doctors and parents were engrossed in a somber conversation. Bingu's mother, gripped by panic, sought answers from Dr. Chen about her daughter's condition. Dr. Chen, with a heavy heart, explained the perplexing situation. Bingu's injuries from the accident weren't severe, yet she was rapidly deteriorating, facing multiple organ failures. Despite exhaustive tests, her prognosis remained grim. How can this be? Bingu's mother cried out in fear. Bingu's father implored Dr. Chen to do everything possible to save their daughter, promising unlimited resources from the Chu family. Regrettably, Dr. Chen, despite his extensive experience, admitted that even divine intervention couldn't reverse Bingyu's fate. The devastating news left Bingyu's parents speechless. They couldn't comprehend that their vibrant 20-year-old daughter's life was slipping away. Overwhelmed by a sense of helplessness, they were consumed by fear and sorrow. Suddenly, Chen appeared, questioning who had made the dire prediction about Bingyu's condition. Bingyu's mother, her voice rising with accusation, pointed at Chen, recalling him from the footage dashing into the road, triggering Bingyu's swerve and subsequent crash. Bingyu's father, simmering with rage, demanded to know if Chen had come to face their wrath. Chen admitted his involvement in the accident, but asserted his intention to save Bingu. Dr. Chen, dismissing Chen as a delusional liar, ordered him to leave and advised Bingyu's father to prepare for her funeral. Unfazed, Chen mocked Dr. Chen's cruelty in prematurely declaring a living person dead. He then revealed Bingyu's cold constitution, a condition she had since birth, causing her temperature to drop daily until the age of 10, and asked if it still occurred every 5 days. Confirming Chen's accuracy, Bingyu's mother questioned how he knew, but Chen evaded the query, instead seeking permission to enter Bingyu's room and treat her. After a moment of contemplation, Bingyu's father granted permission, entrusting his daughter's life to Chen. Chen entered Bingyu's room, requesting solitude for the treatment and instructing the parents to wait outside. Observing Bingu, he admired her beauty and couldn't bear the thought of her passing away. With gentle hands, he unzipped Bingyu's dress and began the treatment, assuring her that his intentions were solely to save her. Chen recognized the unnaturalness of Bingyu's cold constitution and suspected the presence of a frost-venomous pest. Understanding the correlation between host strength and poison potency, he placed his hand on her chest, extracting the poison from her body. Upon inspecting his hand, Chen deduced that the Chu family harbored formidable enemies. Such venomous pests could only be deployed during the late stage of Kai refining. Crushing the pest, he successfully rid Bingu of the poison. Despite the removal of the poison, the cold energy persisted. Chen informed Bingu that he could only sustain her life for the time being, and they would need to address the cold energy later. Channeling his power into her, he explained that the energy he was imparting came from the canon of supreme mystery, one of the top cultivation methods in the realm. This energy, originating from the universe's origins, should suffice to sustain her. As he completed the energy transfer, Bingu gasped, feeling the sudden warmth. Chen glanced at her shyly, wondering if he had provided too much. Moments later, Bingyu's panicked voice echoed throughout the hospital as she questioned Chen's identity and actions. He reassured her, clarifying his intention to save her and urging her not to misinterpret the situation. Bingu, in anger, questioned the unconventional method of undressing someone to save them. Her outburst drew her parents and the doctor into the room immediately. Her mother rushed to embrace her, confessing her fear of losing her daughter. Meanwhile, the doctor, checking Bingyu's pulse, was astounded to find all her failing organs restored to normal functioning. Turning to Chen, the doctor expressed admiration, likening his medical prowess to that of Yama, the god of death. He humbly bowed to Chen, acknowledging his earlier disrespect. Chen responded with kindness, understanding the initial doubt. The doctor praised Chen's extraordinary medical skills and proposed to honor him as his mentor, expressing a desire to learn from him. Considering the scarcity of energy in their world and the challenge of cultivating an internal core, Chen decided to start with external pills to enhance his abilities. He handed the doctor a card, explaining there was no need for formalities, but he required a few specific items. If the doctor could procure them, Chen would be willing to share some techniques. Gratefully accepting the card, the doctor pledged to exert every effort to fulfill Chen's request. Even if he didn't become Chen's official apprentice, he felt honored to learn from him. Bingu inquired about the recent events and the identity of the stranger. Her father recounted the entire situation, and a few minutes later, she expressed gratitude to Chen for saving her life. Chen dismissed her thanks as unnecessary, asserting that they were now even. However, her father insisted that they were deeply indebted to Chen for his monumental assistance, a favor Tianlong vowed never to forget. Chen reassured Tianlong that now that Bingu was safe, he owed him nothing. Tianlong insisted that refusing gratitude would be considered rude, promising to provide any assistance Chen might need in the future. Chen advised Bingu to be mindful of her diet and to keep warm, suggesting she reduce her intake of cold foods to prevent illness. Bingu agreed, committing his advice to memory. Later, as Chen walked peacefully down the street, his phone rang. He answered, and his father asked why he had taken so long to pick him up, inquiring whether he had arrived in Yung to see Yuxi. Chen apologized for the delayed response, informing his father that he had indeed met Yuxi, but they had gone their separate ways. His father advised him not to force anything if they weren't compatible, but urged Chen to maintain composure and avoid succumbing to sadness. Furthermore, his father requested him to visit Uncle Deng and Auntie Zhang when he had the time, as they had cared for him greatly during his childhood. Chen assured his father that he would visit them soon. In the past, he had stubbornly pursued a relationship with Yuxi, a decision that had led his life downhill. However, after 3,000 years, he finally embraced his father's advice. Once irritating, his father's words now brought him comfort and guidance. With a newfound sense of clarity, he decided to do some shopping at the mall. Later, he arrived at Auntie Wang's residence, recalling her kindness to him in his previous life. Feeling indebted after all these years, he resolved to repay her kindness. However, his attention was drawn to a man observing Auntie Wang's building. One of the men informed a figure named Jai that Wang Zhuan lived in apartment number 303 and reminded his companions of Wang Zhuan's wealth, suggesting they demand higher interest or face consequences from their brother. Chen confronted the men, suspecting they were causing trouble for Auntie Wang. Jai, however, only smiled and warned Chen of trouble ahead, claiming Wang owed them 5 million. He threatened harm to her entire family, including Chen, if the debt wasn't repaid that day. Enraged by the threat, Chen acted swiftly. He kicked Jai away, startling his companions as Jai collided with a garbage bin. Chen warned Jai's men that if they left immediately, he would spare their lives. A minute later, he arrived at his aunt's apartment and rang the bell. Auntie Wang opened the door, surprised to see him, and asked why he was in Yung. He explained that he was there for an internship, so he came to visit her and his uncle. Delighted, his aunt mentioned that she would prepare some of his favorite dishes now that he was there. Wang then called her husband Lao Deng to inform him of Chen's arrival. Lao Deng rose from his seat and greeted Chen, mentioning that it had been a few years since they last saw each other. He inquired about Chen's father, to which Chen replied that his father was working in a shoe factory. Lao Deng reminded Chen of his humble origins, encouraging him to work hard to alleviate his father's burden. Drawing from his own experiences, Lao Deng mentioned that by Chen's age, he had already started a company in Germany. However, Chen's agreement with Lao Deng's advice seemed to irk him, as he felt that Chen wasn't fully absorbing the wisdom of his elders, foreseeing potential challenges in Chen's future. At this moment, a woman entered and asked her father, Lao Deng, who Chen was. Lao Deng explained that Chen was the son of their former neighbor, Uncle Yi, and had come to work in Yung. She admitted that she didn't recognize him and assumed Chen was a stranger seeking their help, adding to her suspicion. As they gathered around the table for a meal, Deng encouraged Chen to sample his aunt's cooking, asking if it was as delicious as he remembered. Chen praised his aunt, remarking that her culinary skills remained excellent even after all these years, which, for him, meant 3,000 years. The woman speculated that Chen's compliments were a prelude to asking for their assistance. Auntie Wang then inquired about Chen's romantic life, to which he replied that he was currently single. Wang glanced at her daughter and informed Chen that both families had arranged for him and Lin Yu to marry. Lin Yu reacted with disbelief, demanding to know if her mother was joking. She looked at Chen, assuming he was there to seek their help, but she never expected that he was actually there for her. Chen expressed doubt, stating that he had never heard his father mention such an arrangement. Wang explained that they had planned to broach the topic after Lin Yu's graduation, but hadn't anticipated Chen's arrival in Yung. Lin Yu interjected, reminding her mother that arranged marriages were outdated in their era of free love. She criticized Chen for not prioritizing hard work and relying on traditional methods to find a spouse, questioning his character. Wang sternly reprimanded Lin Yu for her lack of hospitality and politeness, but Lin Yu countered, questioning her mother's defense of someone like Chen. With frustration, Lin Yu stormed off, declaring she had endured enough. Deng invited Qin to accompany him, and Chen obliged. Deng acknowledged that Lin Yu's words held truth, emphasizing the importance of ambition even in the face of financial struggles. He urged Chen to focus on hard work to earn money rather than relying on outdated traditions for marriage and family. Handing Chen a card containing 100,000, Deng explained it was a gesture of support, citing the past friendship between Chen's father and himself. As for the arranged marriage with Lin Yu, Deng advised Chen to disregard it. Chen assured his uncle that he had no knowledge of such an arrangement and didn't believe in it. He excused himself, explaining he had pressing matters to attend to, promising to visit Deng and Aunt Wang once settled. Deng encouraged Chen, acknowledging his intelligence and suggesting he focus on improving his family's circumstances. He hinted that Chen might still have a chance with Lin Yu. Chen handed Aunt Wang a card, assuring her of his availability if she ever encountered difficulties and promising to assist to the best of his ability. Wang praised him, affirming he was a good-hearted young man, and expressed her belief that her care for him had not been in vain. As she examined the card, she pondered its significance, wondering if Chen was aware of her debt and if his gesture was merely a form of checking up on her. Outside the building, a car pulled up, and a burly man emerged, fuming with anger. He berated his men, declaring that even a dog might be worth more than the lot of them combined, demanding to know what had gone wrong. Jai addressed the man as Hu, admitting his failure. He informed Hu that the kid was tougher than expected, having knocked him down with a single punch. Hu lashed out at Jai, branding him useless, and demanded to know the whereabouts of the disrespectful youth. Suddenly, someone shouted, catching Hu's attention. Approaching Hu, Chun asked if he was looking for him. Hu advanced toward Chun as his men cheered, dismissing Chun as insignificant. Claiming years of dominance in the streets, they boasted he had never encountered anyone bold enough to challenge him. To teach Chen a lesson, they aimed a punch at him, declaring he was in for a beating. Striking Chen's stomach with considerable force, Hu expected a reaction, yet to his surprise, Chen remained steadfast, not even flinching. Jai teasingly suggested that Chen had been taken by surprise, citing their brother whose speed and strength comparable to that of a renowned professional wrestler. Assuming Chen was in trouble, Jai was shocked when Chen simply smiled and swiftly maneuvered behind Hu. With precise accuracy, Chen struck Hu under his armpit with 2 fingers, causing him to swear in pain and loudly express his discomfort, much to the astonishment of his followers witnessing their leader being overpowered. Hu stared at his trembling arm in disbelief. Chen wasted no time, swiftly launching another attack. Hu struggled to comprehend Chen's extraordinary fighting prowess, questioning whether Chen was a martial artist. Despite being on the brink of defeat, Chen halted his assault before inflicting serious harm on Hu. Pulling back, Chen proposed a civil conversation. Hu, addressing him respectfully as Mr. Martial Artist, expressed gratitude for Chen's mercy. He informed Chen that his aunt's debt, along with the interest, was now forgiven, considering it an apology gift. Chen insisted on repaying what was owed, prompting Hu to explain that Aunt Wang's company faced financial difficulties, necessitating funds to settle its debts. Chen pondered the scarcity of energy on the Blue Star, deeming it unlikely for a cultivator to emerge from such conditions. Seeking clarification, he asked Hu why he had referred to him as a martial artist earlier. While Hu explained, Lin Yu caught sight of Chen with Hu. Suspecting him of living off women and associating with gangsters, she predicted a grim future ending in jail for him. After Hu finished elaborating on martial artists, he dismissed them. Jai suggested to Hu that, despite Chen's fighting prowess, there was no need to be overly accommodating. However, Hu countered, suggesting that if his suspicions were correct, Chen's potential mirrored that of Master Lei, who led the entire underworld of Yung City. Jai was astonished to learn that the seemingly ordinary youth they had encountered held such stature. In Chen's apartment, he contemplated Quan's, Hu's, explanation. Martial artists in this world were classified into categories such as light energy, dark energy, transformation energy, and mastery. According to Chen's understanding, a 4th-level Kai refining cultivator equated to a light energy martial artist. He recalled the 9 realms of cultivation: Kyra, fighting foundation establishment; gold core, nascent soul; divine transformation, consolidation; Mahayana, and tribulation. As Chen reflected, he realized he had attained the Mahayana realm in his past life. Despite starting anew, his thousands of years of cultivation experience, coupled with the canon of the supreme mystery, would expedite his progress. Raising his hands, he effortlessly reached the 4th level Kai refining stage within an hour. While he anticipated initial challenges, Chu Bingu knew that once he secured the necessary medicine, he could commence core cultivation. Interrupting his thoughts, his phone rang. The caller was Bingu. She explained her recent arrival in Chuan and offered him a vacant house she owned, considering his difficulty in finding rental properties. Gratefully, he accepted her offer and requested the address. Additionally, he assured her he would address the cold energy in her body at a later time. Curious about his satisfaction with the accommodation, Bingu inquired further. Chen, lacking many preferences, assured her of his contentment. However, when Bingu queried the timing for the cold energy removal, unaware of a passerby, Chen suggested immediate action and advised Bingu to disrobe. Caught off guard, Bingu hesitated, questioning the necessity of immediate action and the extent of clothing removal required. The passing girl was shocked and puzzled, wondering what they were doing and thinking that rich people certainly had unique ways of enjoying themselves. Feeling overwhelmed, she quickly retreated from the scene. Inside, Chen ushered Bingu indoors, expressing disbelief and reminding her of their previous agreement. He suggested conducting the healing session inside to avoid the disturbance caused by the lunatic outside. Once inside, Chen immediately began the healing process for Bingu's cold. Observing his actions, Bingu realized Chen had no ulterior motives and noted the warmth of his hands. After the session, Chen informed her that the cold energy had been completely eliminated, granting her freedom. Grateful, Bingu extended an invitation to her father's banquet at the Moon Palace the following night, which Chen accepted. Later, as Chen gazed out the window, he found the half-day spent there surprisingly pleasant. The ample spiritual energy on the mountaintop intrigued him, and he speculated about the potential benefits if the villa were the center of a spiritual gathering formation. Suddenly, his attention was drawn to activity in the neighboring apartments. Upon closer inspection, he noticed the passing girl, Ninku, with men in suits, sensing an unsettling atmosphere. One of the men touched Ninku's mouth, questioning her obedience and accusing her of provoking unwanted advances. The man, identified as Director Fong, derisively informed Ninku of his numerous encounters with individuals more renowned than her, dismissing her attempts at innocence. Encouraged by his associates in the suite, Fong was pressed on why he wouldn't share Ninku with them after enjoying her company. With a smirk, Fong suggested they all partake, directing the cameraman to capture the moment for leverage over Ninku. As Fong orchestrated the scene, one of the men noticed Chen observing them from outside. Alerted, they swiftly seized Chen and brought him inside. Initially attempting to buy Chen's silence, Fong's demeanor shifted, ordering his men to eliminate the witness and promising them a $1 million reward. Despite initial agreement, before they could act, Chen shattered the window and entered the room. Chen confronted Fong, condemning his audacity in drugging a woman and contemplating murder. Unfazed, Fong dismissed Chen's accusations, suggesting he was merely eavesdropping. Chen, undeterred, vowed that Fong would face consequences for his actions. As the men questioned how Chen had breached their defenses, Fong speculated that Chen might have used a wire. Fong, adamant about protecting their secrets, commanded his men to silence Chen permanently. Armed and determined, they advanced towards Chen, placing the blame squarely on him for interfering. In a swift move, Chen retaliated by kicking the broken glass toward the men, causing fatal wounds to their necks. As they collapsed, Chen approached Fong, insinuating that he was the true mastermind behind the scheme, leading Fong to crumble in fear. In a desperate plea, Fong begged for mercy, citing his connections and offering Chen anything to spare his life. Unmoved, Chen delivered a final blow, sending Fong crashing into the wall, blood streaming from his head, sealing his fate. Chen surveyed the fallen men, considering the implications of leaving the scene untouched. He knew he had to act swiftly to avoid further complications. Suddenly, Ninku stirred, complaining about the heat. Startled to find Chan in her room, she demanded an explanation, suspicious of his presence and motives. Convinced he was there to smear her reputation, she moved to call the police, but Chan intervened, urging her to rest with a gentle blow to the back of her neck. Recognizing the need to prevent Ninku from discovering the bodies, Chen reassured her before contacting his ally, Quan, for assistance. With whose assurance that the situation was resolved, Chen agreed to meet later. When Ninku regained consciousness, Chen explained the situation, claiming to have saved her from being drugged, though she remained skeptical. As Ninku questioned her initial assumptions about Chen, his calm demeanor left her uncertain about his intentions. As Ninku pondered the events of the evening, she couldn't shake the memory of Director Feng's offer to escort her home, raising suspicions about his involvement in her drugging. Her attention then shifted to the camera in the room, prompting her to review the footage. To her horror, she discovered that Director Feng was indeed responsible for the nefarious act. Witnessing Chen's effortless dispatch of the men left her astonished by his unexpected prowess. Outside, heavy rain cascaded down upon their villas. Meanwhile, Chen focused on channeling the energy within him, reveling in the presence of spiritual energy. Reflecting on his former circumstances, he estimated that stabilizing the realm would have taken up to 10 days in his previous location. Chen understood that once the pill was cultivated, aided by the spiritual gathering formation, he could progress into the late stage of evolution. He acknowledged that his tribulation failure in his past life resulted not only from his inner demons, but also from advancing too hastily, leading to a collapsed foundation. Determined to avoid past mistakes, Chen resolved to build a robust foundation in his current life. As the doorbell interrupted his contemplation, Chen greeted the woman standing there, inquiring about her needs. Ninku, visibly shaken by the storm and the day's events, timidly requested to stay the night. Chen, taken aback, questioned whether she still saw him as her harasser. Shyly, Ninku admitted to viewing the recording, expressing her fear and seeking refuge for the night. She assured him of her departure in the morning, pledging not to inconvenience him further. Relenting, Chen agreed to let her stay, earning a grateful acknowledgement from Ninku, who praised him as a good person. After tidying up, Ninku confided that it was her first time in Villa No. 1, usually reserved for guests rather than for sale. She expressed surprise at Chen's ownership, prompting him to reveal that it was a gift from the Chu family in gratitude for his assistance. Advising her to keep quiet if she intended to sleep there, Chen received Ninku's compliance, promising not to disturb him. As they lay in bed, Ninku found solace in Chen's presence, apologizing for her previous misconceptions. Chen brushed off her apologies, suggesting they sleep. Curious, Ninku asked if Chen was an assassin, intrigued by his agile movements. However, Chen remained silent, prompting Ninku to question whether he had already drifted off and how an assassin could lower their guard. Most importantly, she wanted to know if she failed to captivate his interest. The next morning, Chen awoke to find Ninku had departed early. Reflecting on the demanding life of an actress, he realized the need to establish a mortal identity through his internship. Before leaving, he discovered breakfast prepared by Ninku, accompanied by a note expressing gratitude and a promise to repay his kindness. She also left her phone number, encouraging him to reach out anytime. Later, upon his arrival at Jia Run Food Incorporated, he made his way into the lobby. The receptionist promptly directed him to the planning department for his internship, a position he eagerly embraced. Amidst the bustling environment, he couldn't help but overhear unsettling gossip among colleagues. They speculated that he was Uxi's alleged abusive boyfriend, accused of causing her facial burns with cigarettes. Expressing disbelief, they lamented the situation, questioning how Uxi could be involved with such a person. Meanwhile, Uxi's friend urged her to end her relationship with Chen, portraying him as a financially destitute and insignificant individual from a small town, now accused of abuse. Instead, she advocated for young Master Yuan, highlighting his affluent background and his father's influential position in the Education Bureau. Uxi countered, insisting that her relationship with Yuan was purely platonic. Unaffected by the rumors, Chen remained focused on his objectives. However, Ping Yu's friend, fueled by anger, vowed to confront him. Approaching Chen, she sternly reprimanded him for taking Uxie for granted and accused him of abusing her, citing her bandaged face as evidence. Ping attempted to make him realize the gravity of his actions, emphasizing his lack of worthiness for Uxie. However, Chen brushed off their concerns, dismissing them as baseless and accusing Ping of naivety. He observed that Uxie had already begun portraying herself as the victim even before he arrived at the company. In tears, Uxie confronted Chen, expressing her willingness to tolerate his misuse of her money or any potential abuse. She had diligently worked to secure his internship, hoping it would steer him towards a better path. However, she questioned his decision to humiliate her friend on his first day of work and whether he perceived her as a pushover. Ping condemned him as shameless. Their confrontation was interrupted by a man demanding to know why they were gathered instead of working. The manager of the planning department, Chun Kuan, inquired about Uxie's tears. With gentle concern, he asked about the condition of her face. Uxie tearfully brushed it off as insignificant, but Ping quietly divulged the truth to him, leaving him visibly surprised by the revelation. Khan contemplated the possibility of shaming Chan to the extent that Uxie would break up with him and accept Yuan instead. Kuan, on the other hand, recognized that Chan had facilitated several deals even before Uxie started dating Yuan. If they were to become a couple, they could potentially secure even more deals, which would benefit the planning department immensely. Therefore, Kuan saw it as necessary to remove Chun for the department's greater good. Approaching Chun, Kuan acknowledged that he was aware of the situation between him and Uxie. He expressed surprise that someone as capable as Uxie would be involved with someone like Chin. In response, Chun interpreted capable as Uxie's ability to depend on someone else to secure business deals. Uxie was taken aback by Chin's disrespectful tone towards the manager, and another female employee also voiced her displeasure. However, Kuan intervened, signaling for them to halt their reactions. Kuan firmly asserted to Chun that he wouldn't entertain discussions about his personal affairs with Uxie. From that moment forward, Chun was simply an intern in the planning department and was expected to adhere to the department standards. Khan elaborated that Uxie had achieved remarkable progress within just a month of joining the planning department, demonstrating her capability. Therefore, it was only fair that these standards applied to every employee in the department. If Chun couldn't meet them, he shouldn't fault them for dismissing him. In response, Chun declared that he wouldn't fall short of expectations, especially since he was Uxie's boyfriend. He believed Uxie was orchestrating these schemes to pressure him into breaking up with her, allowing her to pursue a relationship with Yuan without tarnishing her reputation. However, he vowed not to let that happen. Angrily, Uxie accused him of deliberately trying to repulse her, but she asserted that she would witness firsthand how he performed in his role as a worker from a humble background. Kuan remarked that Uxie's trust in Chin warranted assigning him a challenging task. Uxie's demeanor shifted noticeably upon hearing this, expressing her confidence in Chin's abilities. Khan explained that one of the primary responsibilities of the planning department was to promote the company's products. However, they were currently without a brand ambassador, despite efforts to engage celebrities and influencers from Jiangnan. Even Uxie had been unsuccessful in this endeavor. Therefore, considering Chin's perceived capabilities, Kuran entrusted him with the task, giving him just 3 days to accomplish it. Playfully, Chin questioned whether securing a celebrity was the extent of their requirements. Deeming it an easy feat, however, Ping cautioned him against underestimating the challenge, citing her 3 years of experience in the department without witnessing a newcomer succeed. Despite the ease he perceives in the task, the other girls mockingly label Chun as an oblivious fool. Undeterred, Chun makes a call, introducing himself as Chin, the neighbor, to the person on the other end. He mentions his affiliation with the planning department at Grand Food Incorporated and proposes a collaboration. The person on the line assures him they'll be there shortly. Convinced he has successfully secured the collaboration, Chin informs the girls, but they remain skeptical, teasing him about whether the celebrity is his employee and suggesting he might need to seek medical attention for his delusions. Ping advises Uxie to end her relationship with Chun, accusing him of being nothing more than a skilled actor. In response, Uxie expresses her disappointment in Chin's transformation and resolves to confront him. Pulling Chin aside, Uxie implores him to follow her before they miss their opportunity entirely. Ping continues to urge Uxie to break up with Chun and not to be swayed by his persuasive words. Uxie acknowledges that Chin treated her well in the past but questions why he can't see things from her perspective now. She emphasizes the importance of her career prospects and the potential consequences if their deception is uncovered. Tearfully, she asks him to end their relationship. Chun confronts Uxie, pointing out that she was the one who cheated, yet he's expected to safeguard her reputation and initiate the breakup. Playfully, he questions whether she sees him as a fool. Enraged, Uxie counters that he's far from innocent in their situation, attributing her infidelity to his financial struggles. She begins to question whether he truly loves her, but before she can finish, Chin lashes out, punching the wall behind her, eliciting fear from Uxie. Asserting that Uxie is the one who erred, Chun refuses to play the role of the considerate partner. He sternly reminds her that she doesn't deserve his compassion. Turning away, Chun warns Uxie to cease bothering him, threatening regret if she persists. Despite his warning, Uxie vows to make him feel ashamed once his D-list celebrity arrives. Later, Ping inquires about the outcome of their conversation. Tearfully, Uxie admits she never anticipated Chin's transformation and resolves to end their relationship. Ping supports her decision, suggesting she should have made it years ago and encouraging her to pursue a relationship with Yuan, who treats her far better. Suddenly, she arrives with her bodyguards, causing a stir among the onlookers. They question why a prominent celebrity like Ningqi would be present, with some even declaring themselves as her fans. Khan wastes no time in approaching Ninku, introducing himself and inquiring about the purpose of her visit. Ninku confirms that she's there to discuss the collaboration. Kuan, however, recognizes that Ninku isn't a D-list celebrity and suspects Chin's involvement in her appearance. Despite his disbelief, Kuan invites Chi into his office for a discussion, realizing the potential of signing a contract with such a renowned figure. As Ninku passes by, she sweetly touches Chin's shoulder, asking about the outcome of their conversation and if she arrived quickly enough. Chin responds casually, indicating that it went fine and refraining from commenting on her speed. He then proposes the idea of Ninku becoming the company's brand ambassador, to which she readily agrees. Khan and Ping are astounded by Chin's ability to bring Ninku to the office and by Ninku's swift agreement. Uxie expresses disbelief, questioning how Chun could know such a celebrity without her knowledge. Recalling Chin's mention of Ninku as his neighbor during the phone call, Uxie speculates that Chun may have intentionally rented a house next to a celebrity's residence, knowing that some celebrities opt for modest housing to evade the paparazzi. Chin explained to Khan that the purpose of the collaboration discussion was to negotiate fees. Khan expressed concern about the company's limited budget, which he estimated to be only a couple of $100,000. Uxie, frustrated, reminded Chun that Khan had instructed him to invite a standard celebrity, not a top-tier one like Ninku. She questioned whether Chin had considered the company's financial capabilities before arranging the collaboration. Chun defended himself, citing his lack of awareness of the company's financial situation on his first day. Ninku interjected, acknowledging that her usual collaboration fees started at $5 million, but clarified that she had no intention of charging them. This revelation surprised everyone. Ninku justified her decision by emphasizing the potential benefits for Chin's sales, outweighing any monetary compensation. She instructed Khan to discuss further details with her assistant and announced her intention to have lunch with Chin. Kuan, feeling apprehensive, reluctantly agreed to the arrangement. Chan suggested to Ninku that they should leave since she might be tired from rushing there, and he offered to treat her to lunch. However, Ninku countered, questioning his notion of treating her when she believed she should be treating him, considering he had saved her life. After they departed, Kuan expressed frustration at Chin's apparent undeserved favor from Ninku, citing her mention of a mere $5 million. Ping speculated that Chan might have manipulated Ninku with lies, given his reputation for gaslighting. Uxie confronted Chin about his audacity in accusing her of betrayal when he was the one who betrayed her. She doubted that someone like Ninku would be interested in Chun, given his financial situation, suggesting that Ninku must have been deceived. Uxie warned Chin to brace himself for the consequences once Ninku discovered the truth, as they would likely be severe. Later, Ninku assured Chun that he could call her anytime if he needed anything, and she announced her intention to return to work, implying they would meet at home that night. Chun replied with a simple okay, but internally, he noted Ninku's words, which made it sound as if they were returning to the same house together that night. As he was about to put away his phone, it rang. Upon answering, the caller informed him that the banquet would commence shortly and offered him a ride. Chin accepted the offer and provided his current address. The caller then inquired if he needed styling or new clothes, but he declined, deeming it too much trouble, and jokingly asked if this reluctance indicated embarrassment on her part. She reassured him, affirming that he was their family's special guest, and promised to arrive in 10 minutes. An hour later, at the prestigious Hotel Moon Palace, Uxie marveled at the opulence of Jiangnan City's most luxurious hotel as she entered with Yuan by her side. Impressed, she remarked to Yuan about his popularity, even among prominent families like the Chu family. Yuan acknowledged his father's influential reputation in Jiangnan City. Suddenly, Uxie spotted Chan seated nearby and questioned whether it was indeed him. Upon closer inspection, she confirmed his identity, prompting speculation about how he managed to gain entry. Uxie pondered whether Chin could be there with Ninku, mentioning Ninku's assistance with a 5 million business deal earlier that day, suggesting a plausible connection between Chin and Ninku's presence at the banquet. Yuan insisted that Ninku couldn't bring Chin with her, questioning why you would allow Chin to attend in such shabby attire, potentially embarrassing Ninku. Uxie speculated that Chin must have sneaked in, warning you that Chun was stirring up trouble by infiltrating a prestigious banquet hosted by 2 prominent families. Uxie, pointing accusingly at Chin, demanded to know where the security was and how someone like him could infiltrate the Moon Palace. She then ordered the security to remove Chun from the premises. As the security approached Chin, murmurs rippled through the crowd, questioning how someone could sneak into such an exclusive event. Despite the impending trouble, Chin remained bewildered by the unfolding situation. Yuan publicly asserted his father's authority as Yuzhong from the Education Bureau and pointed out Chun as his university classmate, emphasizing his financial struggles. He urged the security to remove Chun immediately, asserting that he had sneaked into the event. The security, swayed by Yuan's words, confronted Chun, demanding to see his invitation. Chun explained that he was brought there by Yu and was unaware of the necessity for an invitation. Yuan scoffed, mockingly questioning how a mere punk like Chun dared to casually invoke Chu Bingu's name. Uxie admonished Chin to concoct a more believable story for his lies, ridiculing his attempts to wield influence simply because he knew a celebrity. The security personnel, adopting a stern tone, warned Chun that if he couldn't produce his invitation, they wouldn't hesitate to take harsh measures. However, their intervention was interrupted by Bingyu's arrival. She immediately ordered them to cease their actions, cautioning that mistreating Chan would earn them her displeasure. Yuan was astonished by Bingyu's respectful demeanor towards Chun. Addressing him as Mr. Out of deference, Bingu apologized to Chun, acknowledging her fault in the situation. Uxie seized the opportunity to accuse Chun of being a liar and flirting with another female celebrity, expressing her frustration with his deceitful behavior. Bingu, unperturbed, rebuffed Uxie's accusations, asserting that she didn't need Uxie's assessment of Chin's character. She advised Uxie to reflect on her own actions before condemning others. Bingu then directed the security to escort Yuan and Uxie out of the hotel. Yuan attempted to reason with Bingu, citing his father's position in the Education Bureau and their invitation by the Chu family. However, Bingu countered, suggesting that Yuan and his father had failed to inform her of the true purpose behind the banquet. She instructed them to return home and seek clarification from his father. Subsequently, the security personnel escorted Yuan and Uxie out of the hotel premises. Despite her discomfort, Uxie questions the influence Chun holds over Bingu and his qualifications to be present at the event. In response, Yuan contacts his father to inquire about the purpose of the Chu family's banquet. His father reveals that one of the aims of the gathering is to celebrate Bingyu's recovery and express gratitude to her savior, whose last name is Yi. This revelation leaves Uxie astonished. Yuan explains further, mentioning that the banquet is organized to honor someone with the last name Yi, potentially Yi Chen. Uxie dismisses the possibility, stating that Chun was involved in a car accident when he arrived in Jiangnan City, making it seemingly impossible for him to have saved Bingyu. However, Yuan recalls an Audi crashing into their lane on the day of Chen's accident and suggests that Bingyu might have been in that car. Uxie is incredulous, asking if it's true that Chun saved Bingyu and whether this means Chun is now wealthy. Yuan scoffs at the idea, characterizing the banquet as a mere spectacle, and doubts that Chun will be remembered after the event. He angrily vows that once the incident fades from public memory, Chun will face consequences for his actions. Inside the Moon Palace, Bingyu surprises everyone by declaring Chun as the guest of honor for the evening, emphasizing that he should be treated with respect or face her displeasure. The guests readily agree, understanding the significance of Bingyu's announcement. Bingyu then directly addresses Chun, informing him that dignitaries from across Jiangnan City are present to express gratitude and invites him to reveal himself. Without hesitation, Chun agrees, and they proceed together. As they walk, Bingyu marvels at Chin's calm demeanor, noting how he remains unfazed among Jiangnan's elite. She acknowledges her father's earlier assessment of Chin's talent. Bingyu offers to lead the way, prompting Chun to jest about her roughness. Blushing, she denies it, attributing her earlier anger to the mistreatment he endured. Chun laughs, expressing appreciation for straightforwardness. Bingyu, reflecting on his words, resolves not to overthink the situation. Later, Tianlong expresses gratitude to the attendees for their presence despite their busy schedules. He then reveals Bingyu's recent car accident and credits Chun with saving her life. The guests express relief at Bingyu's fortunate survival, but she redirects their attention to Chun, acknowledging him as the true hero of the evening. Tianlong expressed concern that the guests might not be aware of Chen's expertise, but he emphasized that Chun was, in fact, a highly skilled doctor. Some attendees doubted this assertion, suggesting that only seasoned veterans in the medical field were deemed experts, and Chun appeared too young, more akin to a university student. However, a man from the crowd interjected, admitting that Chen's abilities surpassed his own and were truly remarkable. As Dr. Pingjie approached Chen, he affirmed to everyone that Chen deserved the title of an expert, surprising the guests. Dr. Pingjie highlighted Chen's remarkable achievements at such a young age, prompting Chun to express gratitude for his endorsement. Realizing that both Elder Chen, a prominent figure in Jiangnan's medical industry, and Dr. Pingjie endorsed Chen's skills, the guests acknowledged that their earlier judgments might have been erroneous. Dr. Pingjie then discreetly informed Chun that he had procured all the requested medicines and inquired about their delivery. Chun appreciated Dr. Pingjie's promptness and instructed him to deliver the medicines to Feng at Dragon Slumber Mountain the following day at noon. The crowd noticed Elder Chu's approach and announced his arrival. Chun was surprised by Elder Chu's presence and speculated whether he was a martial artist.